my laboratory works on skeletal muscle atrophy. This is a very common problem that occurs during aging, illness, and injury. It affects about 50 million people in the US alone. And in addition to being very common, muscle atrophy causes some serious problems. It makes people weak, which impairs their activities and quality of life. It's a major reason why people have to go to nursing homes, and it also delays the recovery from illness and injury and makes people have to stay in the hospital longer. But despite being very common and serious, we don't have any good ways to prevent or treat muscle atrophy. So my laboratory at the University of Iowa is trying to address this by discovering chemical compounds that can reduce muscle atrophy. And so far we've discovered several compounds that prevent and treat muscle atrophy in mice. Interestingly, at least some of these compounds also reduce fat, and they provide protection against obesity and type 2 diabetes. Some of these compounds are found in natural foods such as apples and tomatoes. And so to accelerate this research towards people, we've started a biotechnology company called Emion. And right now Emion is using these compounds to develop new medicines for muscle atrophy, diabetes, and obesity, and also to develop healthier foods that can prevent these problems before they start.